This episode is brought to you by Broke Ass to Badass, our signature 8-week online course. Our program is the school where you learn to hustle less and focus on what really matters, getting your products, services, and gifts out to the world. Our program is all the branding, tech, social media, and mindset support that you've been looking for. And this is your one-stop shop for building the badass business of your dreams. And guys, fall enrollment for this program is closing August 31st. If you have been waiting for the right time to jump in, now's the time. Jump on over to brokeasstobadass.com/apply and book a breakthrough call with us.
Welcome to Broke Ass to Badass. We're Kimi and Pua, digital media nerds and jiu-jitsu-loving business coaches, joyously obsessed with creating freedom for heart-led entrepreneurs. We're here to help you go from frustrated to fierce, from hustle to flow, from broke ass to badass. Find out more about us at bledigital.com, and wherever you're listening, be sure to click subscribe so you never miss an episode.
We are so excited to have another Broke Ass to Badass online course graduate with us today, and we cannot wait to share Dr. Rebecca Garifo with you guys. This healer, spiritual counselor, and author absolutely rocks our world. Rebecca's energy, passion, sense of humor, and incredible gifts inspire us daily. This woman is on fire and on a mission to help the empaths of the world access their greatest medicine. She is the healer for healers. So without further ado, let's welcome Dr. Rebecca to the podcast.
Dr. Rebecca Garifo, welcome to the podcast.
She's in the house, baby. She's in the house.
Oh my goodness. It's so wonderful to talk with you. We are so thrilled to share you and your amazing energy with our audience. So let's start things off. If you were to bump into somebody and they asked you what you do, how would you answer?
God, it's been only within the past week that that's become a simple answer. But I share of myself as authentically as I possibly can. Period. Like that, because I just feel like pure companionship and compassion and this soul level understanding is so needed right now. And I have so been in search of like, what do I do, or what do I say, or what am I supposed to offer? And I mean, not to just go ahead and start doing a shameless plug, but once I was going through y'all's program, it was like, I just started realizing like, oh my God, there's not a quote unquote service or thing or modality or trade that I want to do, so to speak. I just want to share everything. And this weight lifted because I realized like I'm learning every day. And so then it's like, oh my God, the well will never dry up. You know what I mean? Like there's no end to the creativity, to the lessons, to the love that will keep bubbling up. And it's like this unending excitement has happened where I went, oh my God, that's it. That's all I want to do. So it's so simple, but I feel like I'm finally getting it now.
That is spoken like a true B2B graduate.
I love it. I love it.
That is what we hope for everybody going through this program, to just sit into the simplicity of the truth of what they quote unquote do and who they are and who they serve. And it's so simple once you can feel into it and really trust that like it doesn't have to be this like polished, like, mission statement, 30-second elevator pitch that you practice and memorize. Like, in fact, please, nobody do that ever, because it's so, it's so boring. And you can really tell.
Right.
I was talking to yesterday, I think I was on a breakthrough call, and we were talking about, mission statement exercises that we've done in the past. She and I had both gone to business school, and it was just so like, it's so gross, how you're conditioned to have to like describe what you do and who you are in 30 seconds and make it concise and make it like impactful so people can buy whatever you do. And I just love so much how you shut that down so hard just now. So, thank you. Thank you so much.
I love that you love that I shut it down because that, I mean, as y'all, before the call started, it's like one of the things that has always held me back is technology because that is so not my language. And it's like the fact that y'all have so just comfortably and easily helped me with every step and just really helped to cement like, no, you don't have to have it as step 1, step 2, step 3. Like every person has their own individual magic. And that is what I have so enjoyed going through the program is y'all just helped reinstate over and over again. Like we're here to help you figure out what steps you want to take, not the one that's in the Barnes & Noble's bestseller this week. Like this is about you and us supporting you. And that was just, it's just amazing. It's been a very freeing and empowering thing to realize like, oh, I can do what I want. Okay, that's great. That's so simple. So yeah.
So awesome.
Wow. I mean, if you got like that is such a huge shift to get through the program. I know that Pua and myself, our hearts are just like exploding right now. It's like that aha moment of like, so I just have to do what I want and be myself. Wait, what? It's so radical, right? It's so radical. It's so radical and so awesome. And so paint us a picture of maybe what it felt like to operate as a creative. I mean, you're a writer, you're an empath, you're a healer. There are so many, you're so much more. I feel like words don't even capture really how you serve the world. But tell us what it was like operating before the program and before this awareness and clarity, and then how it's different now for you, and maybe what some of those shifts look like and what they look like in a daily practice.
Yeah. God, that in itself, like as you were asking the question, I'm seeing like movie reels, like, oh my God. I think one of the biggest things, and I always, I feel like the term empath is just good as an all encompassing of like extremely sensitive, and kind of feeling the world at its peak volume. I feel like I've always struggled with not only that I feel this insane need to serve, but that on the other side of the coin was this feeling of, but you're not good enough. You don't know enough. Who the hell do you think you are? Right. So it's like every time I've wanted to get started, I've been like, who the friggin' hell do I think I am to say I know what I'm talking about? Right. And so I have, I started writing the book that I will be sending in for its first edit this weekend. I started writing that book when I was 15 years old. And I knew then, like, maybe I don't have all the pieces put together. Maybe I don't have everything just right. And I think I've been doing healing work all together for about 12 years now. And, I've gone through the steps. I've done the how-tos and the classes and the certifications, and I've worked with shamans and the gurus, and I've helped assistant teach and everything. And it's like, now I'm finally, like, literally in the middle of y'all's program, I'm taking this coat of shame and self-judgment off of like, but is this right? Like, am I allowed to do this? Like, do I have this certification? And it's like this entire rewiring is happening. That's this freedom of like, just do your best. Like, as long as you're doing your best from, your heart's wisdom, baby, just go for it, just do it. And that has been, I feel like I'm talking in circles. It's so hard to put into words, what that feels like. And I know you guys know, you've been there. That's how you created this program. But I think that is why I feel so passionate about talking to, and for so many people that are extremely sensitive, because it's like, that's the double-edged sword where it's like, God, more than anything, to the tips of your toes, you just want to speak truth. And you want to share, and you want to serve, and you want to help heal. But at the same time, often we've been put in abusive and manipulative situations where any kind of footing to stand on has been lost. And so it's like there's never enough certifications. There's never enough permission given for us to finally go, I think I know what I'm doing. I think I'm allowed to do this. So that, that kind of chapter ending and walking into this just, complete freedom of like, well, why the fuck not? Like, I've been doing it one way for 30 years and it hasn't quite worked out. Let's try it this way. And I know, going through the doctorate program, that was my way of being like, I was a high school dropout. I'm going to get a doctorate just because I can. And it's almost this humorous, like, who the fuck says I can't? I'm just going to do it. And that was huge for me to realize even then I wasn't giving myself permission that I had the knowledge and the wisdom, that I've had. So it has that has been the most insane shift of not needing the label and not needing the permission given anymore, I think, and just going for it.
Thank you so much for saying that. Anybody listening, if you're kind of zoning out, please rewind the last 2.5 minutes and listen to that again, because that's our hope for every human on the planet, everybody out there with this this thing in their stomach that's like, you're meant to do something, you're meant to serve in this way. Listen to me. I'm telling you something important. And we love to ignore that. We love to just tell that feeling to be quiet because it's not realistic and it doesn't make us money. And it's not like something that people are allowed to do or able to do, or people like you, right? Who am I to do this? Who am I to tell people to live in this way and to help people in this way without any experience or any prior knowledge? And I love so much that you said, fuck that. I'm doing this because this is who I am and this is why I'm here. And imagine if every person listened to this and took that advice and just said, you know what? I'm doing it because this is who I am. And it doesn't matter. And I figure the rest out along the way. And I have support and I have community to help me. Oh, it's just so awesome.
I know. I'm nodding my head. I hope everyone listening to this goes, I'm going to become a car mechanic, or I'm going to start doing paintings, or whatever the hell you want to do. Why not? Why not?
Why not? Yeah. And I think it's so great that you're sharing this with people and that you're, living this truth, because when we don't do this, when we don't follow that voice or follow that path, we're really just letting our own self-judgment, our own fears and our ego really take control over the service we could provide. And then when we flip it and we're like, no, I have a responsibility to help people, to serve people, to make this world better, it becomes a no-brainer. But that shift is not something that comes easy. And I think that's what you're kind of sharing here, right?
Yeah, definitely. And that has been something huge to realize, is that I know a lot of us that have those really strong spirits, our whole life we've kind of been like, well, it's admirable if I do it by myself, right? I get an applause from heaven, if I do it myself. But even, I was looking at my husband earlier today and I told him, I said, I am sending this book in for its first edit this weekend. No questions asked, because I am such a perfectionist. I've realized I'm not asking for help. That's what my editor is there for, to help me edit my book. And it's amazing when you realize if you just let a few people in, to help you with technology, to help you figure out these little things, an entire universe opens up if we just let go a little bit.
So huge. Wow. So tell us about, I think so many people have a book that they've been, feeling is emerging from them, maybe since they were 15, like you. And I mean, how incredible is that, right? The book that you've been writing since you were a child, essentially, is finally it's off to the editor. Can we just all toast you right now. I just want to like stand up and do a happy dance. And I would love for you to share a little bit about what the creative process is for somebody who's bringing something like that to life. And I know because we've had some really juicy conversations about the creative process and about letting people in as you create, and especially continuing to share and do the work and like finding that balance between I'm writing this thing and I want to have it totally perfect before I share it with the world, but then also wanting to let people into the process, get them excited about it. You do these beautiful book sneak peeks on your Instagram. And so, yeah, share with us a little bit about that balance between the internal creation that happens and like the ebb and the flow of letting people in, but then going within. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. And I'll never forget when you asked me, so who knows that you're writing a book? And I laughed because I was like, oh, you just called me on my shit. Nobody, because there's that inner voice of like, but what if you fail? Wouldn't it be better if only 5 people saw you fail as opposed to like 500? Wouldn't that be, a little better? And it has blown the excitement out of the water. And I think we discussed that too on a phone call one day about how like it keeps that fire lit if you have the guts to share it with people, because then you have even more people excited about what you're doing. And it has, I think anybody that sits to do anything creative, it can be frustrating because some days you sit down and it's like dead air. It's like there's nothing, and this book for me has been my healing process. And I remember driving down the road one day and there's like probably 15 books, that I want to do. And all I kept hearing was, you have to do this one first because this one's for you. Like, you have to get this out. And part of me was like, okay, no biggie. And the part of me is like, oh my God, but this is so painful. Like, do I really want to do this? And I know I told you, like, I'll get lost in it for 6 and 7 hours some days. And I have found, because music is absolutely my drug of choice, that any time that I feel like my creative well has run dry or like the healing has just been stifled, for the day, I can basically go back to a song from the soundtrack, of my life, and I will put it on repeat for 6 hours. And it's like it just comes pouring out. It's like those, scarves that a magician will pull out of his sleeve. Like I just sit there and I'm like, okay, here it comes. And I can just ride it out. And it's really been this huge thing to realize that when I didn't even know, in younger years, that I was holding on to so many other people's emotions and picking up on so much, I would put songs on repeat when I was 6 and 7 and just sit and listen and listen and listen. And it's like, I realized it's like if, you picture the inside of your body having the strings to a guitar, and maybe you can't put the words to what you're feeling, but you can pluck the chords. And so there's this resonance going on in you that you might not be able to figure out, but in that language, you can portray it. And so it's been extremely healing and rewarding for me, and just really fun to sit and write this book every day, because it's been this amazing way of not only purging, but like going back and putting a bow on everything. It's just amazing in hindsight when you look at stuff, and life really is a fairy tale, no matter how dark things can be at times and how crazy and messed up things can seem. Like, those are the best stories. Those are the most amazing, nighttime stories that we all want to hear. And so it's been a really, really rewarding process that I had no idea would really be this fun.
Wow. It's amazing. I love, we talk to so many people who feel very stuck in their creativity. And I just love that you shared this process, because I think it's not something that I've personally tried before. And listening to you, I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to put myself in a situation where I can figure out what that is for me that puts me into a flow state. Because seriously, sister, if people can figure out what this is for them, what their, quote unquote drug of choice is, if it's music, if it's quiet, if it's meditation, if it's, walking, whatever that is, if people can figure this out, like this is going to change lives, because so many people do not put their gifts into the world. They don't put their message out into the world because it takes a certain level of creativity and getting into that flow state to create the content to do so, right? People aren't writing books because they feel that they don't have the time or the space or the kind of mindset to sit down and do this. And thank you. Oh my gosh, we're learning so much. So
it just makes me so excited to even hear you say that, because it's like you just feel like you tap into magic when you find that, that thing. And I think we all have those things, and it's easy to forget sometimes, because I'm going to be straight up. I don't genuinely generally like yoga. I really struggle meditating. Like, all of the things that are supposed to help me tap in don't really work for me. And sometimes that's frustrating. And even before our call today, to calm my nerves, I thought I should do a meditation. And part of me was like, I'd really rather have a cup of coffee and watch Gilmore Girls for 5 minutes. So
I hope
that's what I did.
Fabulous. Good.
Yeah. And so it's like, I think a lot of it, I think our creativity can be stifled when we almost, again, with the step 1, step 2, step 3, it's like sometimes if we let ourselves off the hook and stop kind of tying ourselves to the whipping post, like, why can't this work for you? Why doesn't this modality, open you up like it does other people? Sometimes if we just push that aside, it's like all of a sudden these little ideas come up to us. Like, maybe I just need to go laugh with one of my friends over a cup of coffee for 3 hours, and then I'll be ready to do this. All of us open up from different avenues. And I think that's the most incredible, incredible thing for people to figure out what that is. Because we know it's not just creativity that comes out. It's our entire light and everything that needs to be released. It's amazing.
Wow, I love that. Something that you said earlier is like, it keeps running in my head, and I think so many people can relate. And that is this feeling of like, it's never enough. And that's what stops us from moving forward, right? So that, it's never enough certifications. It's never enough, I've never learned enough in order to serve. And I think it really gets in our own way, because it has to come from within, right? We have to go within and find that value, that enoughness, that sense of purpose and service from where we are right now, and just trust that we're going to, as you said, right? We learn as we go, we share as we learn. And that's how we really get out of our own way and step into our power. And so I guess what tips or advice or guidance would you have for somebody that does feel as if they find themselves in a pattern of saying to themselves, okay, when I do this, then I'll be ready. When I do that, then I'll be ready. Once I get this certification, then I'll be ready. Because we'd love to hear your guidance, because it's something that we hear so much from people.
Right. It's, I'm not going to say this is for everyone, but I think one of the most visual ways I can picture that is when you start a painting and you're staring at this blank canvas and you don't know where to start. You don't know which corner to start from. You're just you become paralyzed, right, by your own perfection. And sometimes it's like, oh, just fucking do it. Like, don't physically push yourself off a bridge, but it's like I picture, some of the most exciting and thrilling things we do, you feel extremely nauseous and you get bubble guts beforehand. You're like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. And there's that one moment where you just have to talk to yourself and go, oh, just fucking do it. Just who cares? Who cares? And I almost picture it like a tough love grandma talking to ourselves. It's that harsh, reality of, are you really going to do it tomorrow? Or are you going to do it the next day and the next day and the next day? And I know, again, in the program with the podcast and everything, part of it is because I get so overwhelmed with the thought of editing and all that stuff. But that's how I had to start that. I just pushed the record button and I was like, I'll just talk and then I'll just put it online. Like, who cares? Like, I'll just do it. And
that is so badass. So badass.
I feel like if you want to regain your faith in humanity and your trust in people, sometimes you have to do a little bit of a free fall, because you get this gift of seeing how many people catch you, people that you didn't even know were there. And you're like, oh my God, no matter what I do, it's okay. No matter what it is. And I think creativity is just, it's right there with so many things in our lives that our brains, the survival mode of worst case scenario just doesn't want to stop. And I don't think it's ever really going to stop because it's part of our survival. I think we kind of have to learn to talk to it and be like, I really appreciate that. But right now I'm trying to live my life and not be stuck in a cubicle 12 hours a day. Like, I just want to enjoy myself. So it is. I think sometimes if we can picture ourselves, about to make that jump, we have to just be like, oh, just do it. Just see what happens. Why not?
Mm-hmm. We got to get out of our own way.
Absolutely.
Totally. Oh, you're dropping so many gems. It's so epic.
Did you call it bubble guts? Is that what I heard?
Yes. Yes.
I love that.
And how there's just so many people in your life that you're like, I'll probably never see them again. But if they only knew how much I adore them, like people that you've only seen for a day. And I had this client years ago who, talk about a freaking badass. She did like the forensic evidence, in the courtrooms and stuff. And I was just like, oh my God, like that is so cool. And I'll never forget her telling me about her first day in the courtroom getting bubble guts. And we were just laughing because we were like, of any time to get the shits, why does it always have to be when you're like presenting in front of people? Why do our bodies go like, now's a good time?
Like when you're playing hide and seek as a kid, and all of a sudden you have to do number 2, and you're like, what? Really? Now?
Not now. I've got to win. Yes, absolutely. Again, our bodies try to sabotage us sometimes, trying to help us out, and we're like, not right now. Not right now.
So funny. I have to say, I stay on mute when I'm not talking because there's sometimes some noise going on over here, and I just couldn't stop laughing when you said that. It's like, she just said that. It's so true.
It's so true. Y'all, we got to talk. It's normal. It's bodily function. It's okay.
Love it. We always end up talking about poop somehow. So it's perfect.
It's an important part of life. So I'm just saying.
I agree. What I love, what I want to pull out of what you said earlier is that the difference between like wanting to write a book and, you say like, oh, I really want to write a book. I want to write a book. What do you want to do? I want to write a book. And then all of a sudden, like what takes you from that space to saying, I'm writing a book or I wrote a book? It's just taking the action and trusting that once you put that out into the universe and tell people, right? And trust that you're on the path to doing it, that you will be supported and people will show up. And I love that you shared that, because I think we often do kind of get stuck in the fear of being alone. Mm-hmm. And while we know we're not alone in anything that we do, we're especially not alone today because of the internet. Right. You can find a community of like-minded people doing things that you want to do or that you're doing, like anywhere. You go on Facebook, you search for 2 seconds, and you can find a Facebook group with people who can help you along the way, right?
Exactly.
So, awesome.
And I love that because it is like, I was talking to a gal on our trip last week and we were laughing because it's like, there's always going to be assholes abound. Like that's just part of life, but you won't know how many amazing people there are until you open yourself up. And it can be scary for all of us, but I know, Kimmy, you cracked me up when you were saying you got to open the kimono, and it's so true. Like if we want people to be open and authentic with us, there is that jumping point where we have to be like, I guess I'll give it a shot.
For sure. And the assholes will surface once in a while. That's another part of it. The universe is always perfectly balanced. You're going to meet amazing people and you're going to meet absolute dicks. and they're going to try to lower your vibration. And we just have to remember that it's just part of the balance, and the assholes are going to be there, and who cares?
Right. Exactly. They're just doing their job and they're doing it real well. So we'll just let them do what they do.
Oh, so true.
Wow.
So awesome. So could you share with us what, besides your book, what you're up to these days and how people can find out more about everything that you're doing, and if they wanted to connect with you in any way, where they could do that?
Yeah, definitely. So that's the exact way to put it. Besides my book, because that's like my baby that's taking a year and a half, I do over the phone counseling and distance healing. And that right now, while I'm working on the book, I'm offering the over the phone counseling actually by donation. And so I just want to help as many people as I can. So while I'm not, too busy yet, I'm just like, oh, babies, come on. So that is you can contact me at RebeccaGarifo.com, and it's RebeccaGarifo.com. And then you girls know most of my stuff is through Instagram. I share my sneak peeks of my book, and I really, y'all, as much as I get agitated with social media and technology sometimes, every little like poem and message that comes in my head, what a great way to share it immediately. It's been magic to be able to be like, oh, I'm going to make a picture of that. Be able to share it with the world. So
love it. I look forward to your posts so much. I really, they are. Each one is like a little art piece. And so every time I see it come through the feed, I'm like, oh, yay.
I love it. I love it.
Wonderful. And what about the podcast? How can people connect and listen to your podcast?
So I'm on Castbox right now, and I will probably be working with you gals very soon to get it on iTunes. So
yay, we can help with that for sure.
Oh, I can't wait. So the title is Empaths Alchemy on Castbox. And I'll probably actually be putting a new one up today, but that is so fun. It's so fun. And I've got more interviews with women coming up that are just going through incredible, incredible things. That's been a whole other way of opening up to a community.
Wow. Wonderful. Well, we'll be sure to include everything in the show notes so people can get connected, follow what you're doing, be ready when your book is born. And actually, it's already been born, right? It's just the grand presentation to the world. So
she needs to get walked off and dressed.
That's right. That's right. Oh, love it. So any final thoughts for anybody listening today?
I mean, really, I'm so excited. And I guess, a little shout out. I just feel like I always say I cannot ever separate anything that goes on in my personal life to what's going on in the world right now. And that's kind of the basis behind my counseling sessions, is without me even promoting that, 95% of them are empaths that are learning to speak up and find their footing and their strength out of abusive relationships. And so I really, if anybody just needs to hear their own voice, to just realize that they're not crazy, like that is what I'm here for. And I can't say enough, like, I had a therapist tell me one day, an insane person will never question their sanity. Mm-hmm. And so I say that to myself 24 times a day. And I'm like, well, I question mine all the time, so we're good. Like, we're okay. But, there's a lot of us out there that just, the more we communicate and the more we know that people have our backs and we can speak freely, the better off this world's going to be.
Wow. So beautiful. So beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for just the beautiful light and energy that you bring to this world. Thank you for spending your time with us today. We just love you.
Oh, I adore you guys. I have been so excited to catch up with you. This has been wonderful.
As always, we can continue the conversation in our tribe on Facebook. You can find that at bit.ly/BLE tribe.
If you guys are ready to take action and level up your life and your business, jump on the phone with us and book a breakthrough call. You can find out all about our 8-week course and all of the ways that we support you and your business dreams at brokeasstobadass.com.